Yes guys, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. So this morning I found myself with a little bit of free time. Checked the maps and the Lake District had a little bit of a weather window. You can see it's a little bit overcast, but it is dry, which is the main thing. So I've got about 3 hours before the bad weather sets in, and I thought I'd tackle another peak, cross one off my list. So today we're ticking off Blencathra. So done my little research. I found the best way down, the most techie and most fun way down. So job one, get to the top. So get this climb out the way and we'll catch up shortly. Take it easy. So just taking a bit of an excuse to take a breather, but I thought while I would, I'd explain a little bit about where I am. So just behind me there, you'll see that body of water. That's Derwent water, and you might just be able to make out the town, which is the town of Keswick. And then if I pivot round to the right, that behind me just there is Skiddaw, which is the bigger brother, I suppose, to Blencathra. And then if I spin right round, that's what we're going up. And so far it's been all push-up, not really had opportunity to get on the bike, and even if you had an e-bike, I don't think you're getting up this, to be honest. It's quite steep. Not as steep, fortunately, as what Griesdale was when it was hiker bike. The bike's not been on the back yet. It's just a push-up, so I'm heading just for that summit up there, which isn't the top, but that's where I'm heading, so I'll catch up with you when I'm there. So I thought I'd just take the opportunity while there's a bit of a drop in wind, just to try and give a little bit of insight into the route up. So I've now joined this sort of shale, loose path. And I knew the wind would pick up as soon as I started talking. But yeah, this sort of shale path that you can see snaking down into the distance, and then off to the right hand side, and that's where I've come up from the right, snake's path, and then onto this shale path at the moment. Still got a little while of this to go. You can see it going off to the left and then traversing back up onto the right, and that'll get me to the first part of the summit, where I should be able to get on the bike for a little bit, hopefully. But that view is unbelievable. Like I say, just to the right there you've got Derwent water and Keswick, and then hiding just behind this hillside on the right is Skiddaw. So just over to the left is the summit of Blencathra, in shadow at the minute, and I'm bathed in the sunshine. Hopefully that swaps around as I head that way. But just an unbelievable view of the Lake District just from this little ridge, or this little lookout. So yeah, this is it's taken me just over an hour to get to this point, and like I say, it's been push up all the way and heading just over to that peak over there. So it looks like we've got a little bit of a downhill off this ledge and then back on the push-up. Yeah, a little bit of a plateau, so get a little bit of riding in. Skiddaw to the left, Blencathra to the right, and finally a little bit of riding. Unbelievable views today. Really got lucky with the weather. And now a break in the wind as well, which is nice. But yeah, looks like we're pretty much straight away back on the push-up. But at least I've done some uphill biking. It's not been all push-up. So just at the top of another little peak, I suppose. Blencathra itself, the summit, you can just see someone on the top of it there, but just a little opportunity for a bit of downhill, so thought it'd be worth filming. So in terms of the riding so far, it's just all this stuff that you can see underneath, which is, just to compare it, I suppose, what you'd find at a trail centre. Probably just a blue, to be fair. Nothing major. But then it looks as though we're going to be back to pushing up in a second. So this looks like another smaller ridge just before the summit. But just comparing it to a few others that I've done. So I've done Helvellyn before, and that's definitely got a lot more riding on the uphill sections. I'd say the same was true of Griesdale and Skiddaw as well. Morning. Yeah, whereas this is so far it's been about 95% push-up, about 5% riding. But got to earn those turns. So successfully made it to the top. The little marker is just there. So yeah, successfully made it to the top. Unbelievable 360 views of the entire Lake District. Absolutely lush. So where I'm aiming for now, I'm just going to spin you right round, hope you're not getting dizzy, is just following this ridge here, following it along up until dropping down there, and that should be Doddick Ridge, and that's what I'm heading for. So it looks as though I'm going to have to stop somewhere around here before dropping in, but yeah, that's where we're aiming for. And looking at the clouds, I'm not going to stick around too long on the summit just to avoid getting wet, but it's took me about an hour and 10 minutes push up just to get to the summit itself. Conditions are absolutely unreal at the top, no wind, which means you can probably hear me pretty well. But yeah, superb views, but not spending too long up here, time to get down. So aim of the game now, Doddick Ridge and down that way. So yeah, just starting the descent now, and I'm on the hunt for Doddick Ridge. Thankfully the wind's dropped, because that's the last thing that you need on a descent that you're riding blind when it's so exposed. Just big, chunky, gnarly rocks at the minute. Hopefully it's not this sort of road all the way down, because those tight turns aren't the most fun. But the views that it's offering just as you're coming down, looking out in front of me there, are unreal like. But also trying not to spend too much time looking at them and trying to focus on coming natural down and getting down in one piece. But it looks as though a couple more of these turns and then it's going to open out. Now I could take the shortcut across the grass like it looks as though some have done, but I'm going to respect the mountain, respect the paths. And then we'll open her up here. Yes, that's more like it. Now somewhere down here I need to be making a right turn, so I need to keep an eye out for that. And watch these walkers as well. Morning! Somewhere around here I'm taking a right, so I'm just going to have a look over this peak and explore, because I don't want to drive past it or ride past it. But yeah, looking at the map it looks as though Doddick is just over this little hillside somewhere. I think it's that to the right. Nope, slipping on the shoes. Yeah, I think. Right, I'm going to pause the video and take a look on the map. Catch up shortly. Right, managed to find the turning for Doddick. but just showing you where I've come from. So up on the top left you might see a little person on the hill. That was the summit of Blencathra, and then straight in front you've got these zigzaggy turns, and that's what I've just come down along here. And then I've just stopped here just to double check where Doddick is, and it's just down to the right there, so that's where we're heading once we get back to the path. No easy way of getting back to the path, because there was no easy way of getting off it. So yeah, off to Doddick. See how we get on down that. Tighten the helmet. Extreme light loose, and now the wind's picking up. But so far just nice. Little bit of techie riding. Just taking it nice and easy while that wind picks up. Definitely don't want any issues up here, as today is a solo ride as well. But everybody knows where I am, don't panic. Right, I believe it's down here. So yeah, this is Doddick by the look of it. Let's have a do. Straight drop to the left, so nothing stupid. Heavy on the brakes at this stage. A little bit of shale surfing rather. Incredibly loose and incredibly steep up to this point. Looks like I might get a bit of a breather on that lip. Brakes working overtime. Right, looks as though off to the right. That's tacky. Right, I'm going to be sensible here and just carry it over this bit. Not sure if you can hear, but that wind's picking up and I'm a bit exposed, so erring on the side of caution. Right, back on two. Ooh, I've picked the wrong line there, so I'm going to jump off again. That wind is annoying. Oh. Again, that's a bit of a climb, just being sensible. And then it looks as though I can get back on and start properly riding. But yeah, so far extremely techy, extremely exposed, very tight. Can't work out quite which way is the best to go here. Probably off to the left. Just want to get back on the bike. And looks as though I can now. Right, where we go? Nearly. That was dicey to say the least. It's going to take a second just to get a breather. That was full on, to say the least, but hopefully you can see how steep that is. But you've got a lot of very exposed rocks where if you do overshoot or tumble a little bit, you're just going to go into free roll, or free fall rather, which not great if there's a few of you, but if you're on your own, particularly not great. So yeah, I'll have a breath, let the brakes just take a chill. Hey, not the best place to drop in, but have a look. Cannot get that line. Right, we have a bit of an opening. Yeah, that was insanely techy, but good fun the first bit. Not a fan of the second bit, but looks as though we've got a bit of a free run for a bit. Back on grass. See if we can get an idea of where we're going. So it looks as though over this ridge, aiming for that one just over there. But right, onwards. So yeah, just to give you an idea, I'd stick that as a double black. So if trail centre's your thing, definitely give that a dodge. And this as well, it's getting quite steep, quite techy. But nice to ride. It's just one of those techie routes that you're picking and plotting your line as you go. Especially when you've not ridden it before. Right, I've got two lines here. I'm going to take the high one and see. Should have took the low one, because that goes off to a drop to the right that's not going anywhere. I mean, I'd already definitely love to come back and do this again. Little slide. On a day when the wind's not like it is, and I'm maybe, well, I will be more familiar with the route itself. But yeah, you've got quite a few of these sections where it's carry your bike down. I mean, you can see that you're not getting down there. No matter the bike. Definitely an adventure kind of ride. Right. Should now be back on. Well, I'll wait till this flat bit because I can't sling while I go over there. Right. Get the pedals on. More away. Trying to find the foot balance here. There we go. Jesus. Yeah, not going down that gully. Cannot wait to get on an open section. It's very stop-start, on-off at the minute. Just because obviously stuff like that, it's just like a sheer gully. Hopefully the camera is showcasing, whoop, slider, just how sketchy this bit is. One of them that, should she be around, my mum would not approve. Right, hopefully that's all that lot done, and we're back on. Once I can find the pedals, we're back on. Right, there we go. But yeah, that was tough, techie. Obviously you saw there that a lot of the time it was carrying the bike down, because those chutes are mean. You know, no margin for error. This is better. much better. Just a bit of flow. Nice ridge line. Hi, bud. But yeah, that top section is no joke, really. A lot of carrying your bike before your bike carries you. What's over this ridge? Beautiful. Beautiful. Right, back in. I'm assuming we're down and to the right. Whoa, sketch it, saved it. Right, then let it roll for a bit. But yeah, just coming to that, back to that ridge. You don't want to overshoot that. It was serious and not somewhere you want to be messing about. Oop. It's now opened up into a bit of a better path. Nearly over the bars. And again, just trying to stay out of that gully. Not sure where we're going here. Straight on or right. So yeah, just taking a pause. Got Blencathra up on the top there, dead centre. Coming across to the right, and that's where we drop down into that ridge line. Whew. I'm just going to catch my breath and have a mouthful of water. Catch you up in 2. Right, refreshed, revitalised, ready to go. So there's a couple of walkers coming up, so I'm just going to have to take it easy. Not that I wasn't anyway. Alright, now I've got 2 paths. I'm going to follow this lower one. I'm just keeping an eye out for them too. Come up. It's quite a mentally tough descent because you're having to do an awful lot of thinking. And the shale is not helping the brakes, not helping the tyres. You kind of just putting the brakes on and sliding. No matter what tyres you're running. But just while I'm on that, as a heads up, I'm on the Crip Total or the Continental Crip Totals front and rear. Used to be on Magic Mary's front and rear. Oop, traffic on the up. Alright, I'll just pause the video and wait for him to come up. You wanna come up? Alright, people safely out of the way. So if I do stack it, it's just me. I'm going to take this road slightly to the right. Thorn bush, lovely. Ow, ow, ow. Be covered in scratches and thorns. So as descents go, tough. Very tough, that one. Very techy, a lot of thinking going on. Like I say, some getting off and some pushing. But almost at the bottom. I think traverse across that way. So yeah, more or less now at the bottom, just done come down that hillside there, cut across over the river, and then just following this little trail along here that then should drop in towards where the car's parked. It's very tight. Not sure if I'll get up that in that gear. Yeah, obviously not a well ridden or well walked path. Not the easiest to see. But this is bringing me out and across the front of what we've just been up. Guesswork on where the path is. Got it right. So yeah, all in all, I think that's all but down. I think there might be a little bit more to come, but just comparing it to other mountains or big hills that I've done in the Lake District, so I'd say the down is by far the techiest that I've done in the lakes. So that being Blencathra, Skiddaw, Helvellyn and Griesdale Pike. So that was the descent down Doddick, and yeah, by far the most technical. You could see there that there were sections that were tough where I've had to get off the bike and carry it over certain formations or down gullies, whereas I've not had to do that with any of the descents in the past, so it's just been on the bike and straight down. The way up is probably the easiest up in terms of getting the bike to the summit. Even though it was all push-up, it was an easy push-up. There was no hiker bike, there was no super challenging sections or anything of that. It was just push the bike for an hour and 10 minutes till you get to the summit. But yeah, coming down Doddick was definitely the most challenging descent I've done in the lakes so far. But I'd definitely like to come back. There are 3 or 4 routes that come down. That one is the most technical and most challenging. There is another one called Sharps, I believe, that basically is just a no-no. Yeah, absolutely a no-no. It's a scramble if you're a walker. As a biker, it's a no-no. Always remember, if you're out anywhere and you need to open a gate, that means you've also got to close it as well. Don't forget. Job done. Right, this looks as though we're now entering civilization and the bottom of the hill. So yeah, that looks as though it is the end of today's ride by the looks of it. Looks as though I'm heading just into the little town where I've parked up. It's been tough, tougher than I expected. Parts of it were just realistically unrideable, especially as a solo rider. You know, you've got to take that extra level of care that maybe you'd risk things more if you were with a group or with a couple of you. But yeah, today it was just watch what I'm doing, make sure I get down safely, and that looks as though where we are. So yeah, that was the Blencathra ascent and summit with Doddick descent. Very, very, very good in parts, very, very, very tough in places. It gives you an awful lot to think about when you're coming down. You can't just absolutely horse it all the way down. It's very, very tight. You've got to be careful with your wheel placement and your tyre placement. And because of how tight it is, you've really got to be slinging your body all over to try and counteract the balance of the bike. But overall, absolutely superb. But yeah, it's definitely a hill or a mountain. I'm not sure what it qualifies as, but it's definitely one that I want to get back to and have a look at some of the other descents. Like I say, there's quite a few that come off the summit, so I would like to check those out. But hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, it really helps us out. And unfortunately, it's just a little bit too early in the morning to be calling in at that pub down the road. So yeah, down safely off the mountain, and not a moment too soon either. It looks as though the weather's changing up there, the clouds starting to set in. So timed that to perfection and got away with it weather-wise. Tough on the legs, feeling it a little bit. It was a tough descent, a technical descent, but a thoroughly enjoyable one. Really, really good fun. But yeah, like I said, you've really got to be thinking about what you're doing on the way down. But hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's given you some food for thought. Hope to see you on the trails. Take it easy.